welcome back. We're discussing, well, we started discussing the history of the urinals, but now they seem to be eradicated. What's going on?
Mhm.
Well, joining me to talk about this issue is Peter Shawn Taylor. Peter, when we were talking about urinals, we've thrown around, or at least I did in my opener, words like efficiency, um, the water use efficiency, things like this, time efficiency, ecological efficiency. What are the practical benefits of having urinals installed for men?
Yes, I mean, urinals exist for a good reason. It's not some sort of barbarous relic of male dominance. The urinal was invented to do a very specific thing, and they're very good at it. And as you mentioned, efficiency. Urinals are very efficient. And by any efficiency can mean a bunch of different things, but by any measure of efficiency that you can come up with respect to washrooms, urinals are at the top. They're quicker, obviously. Men can use a urinal in half the time that a woman can go into a stall and get fully undressed, etc. So they're efficient from a time perspective. As you mentioned, they're efficient from a water use perspective. The
Mm.
National Plumbing Code requires that in an institutional or industrial setting, a toilet can use up to 6 liters of water per flush. In a urinal, it's 1.9 liters. So
That's triple the amount
it's
for
huge.
toilet.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely huge. And so everybody who goes around saying, in the name of equity, we should get rid of urinals, what they're really doing is saying we want to oversee a water wastage of enormous perspective here.
And it never
And
dawned
it's
on me. And like that's a very important point because we have jurisdictions like, we
huge.
keep hearing about droughts in California, obviously other parts of the world, but just south of the border, similar jurisdiction like ours. If we're talking about water conservation, I had no idea because I'm sorry, I'm not a man. I don't think about urinals. I
Mhm.
really don't until I wrote this for the show. That is a very important point.
It's huge. I mean, and this is potable water, remember? This is water from the municipal system that we're just flushing away. So every time a man is forced to urinate in a toilet rather than a urinal, we're flushing away all this water. Urinals are efficient in terms of space too. They take up much less space. If you want to make, excuse me, bigger washrooms for women because you want to cut down on the lineup for women's washrooms, then
Mhm.
putting urinals in men's washrooms in areas where space is a constraint is also a great idea. So there's really no measure on which urinal doesn't win where they can be applied. The problem for a lot of people is that they can only be applied for men. Men are the only ones that can use urinals. Therefore,
Mm.
they're inequitable. So that's how we've gotten ourselves into this
And I
situation.
know this probably sounds stupid. I'm just going to ask the question because I clearly am not up on the times with this urinal debate. There's no like female urinal or anything like that. It's just the toilet.
People talk about that they've invented such a thing, but I
Okay.
wouldn't be an expert in it,
Okay.
and it certainly
Just want to double check
it
that I'm not.
certainly hasn't made a physical presence anywhere.
Okay. Okay. Just double checking because one of the interesting points in your story in your journalistic piece is that there are even companies are saying we can collect the urine and repurpose it
Yeah.
when you use a urinal. When your toilet, you're just flushing it down. It's going to wastewater. It's getting processed by the municipal systems or wherever you are, septic system, whatever. But people are actually repurposing the urine because they're kind of clean collecting it.
Well, right. I mean, and I talked to the urinal manufacturer, who, as you might suspect, is not too happy about the genderless washroom craze. And he pointed out that his company, they make a waterless urinal. He says, you don't need a liquid to flush a liquid. There's a certain kind of device in the drain that prevents smells from coming back up. Anyways, he's been involved in a couple of experiments with researchers because urine is a key ingredient in fertilizer. You can use urine to fertilize various agricultural pursuits. There's been stuff in Norway and around. He sent
Wow.
me a couple of scientific reports. So yeah, there's a urinals also offer the opportunity of harvesting a resource, if you will, that toilets don't.
And like, are there any, I know this is a strange question to ask, but any like physiological benefits for men for using a urinal versus a toilet?
Well, it makes us happier because we can get in and out quicker. Keep in mind, the urinal was invented in the industrial age, beginning of the industrial age, when factories needed a way for men to relieve themselves quickly in a way that didn't make the factory smelly and gross. So the urinal came into being to meet a particular need. And the danger is always if you get rid of urinals, men will go back to that pre-urinal habits, which no one really wants, which leaves everything a little smellier and stinkier.
Yes, God help the fire hydrants and the trees. Okay, we'll be continuing this discussion in just a moment.